1 year ago today, a small group of Clemson students decided to join together via Zoom while in quarantine to discuss the 2012 movie Django Unchained.
At the time, we were little more than a group of friends who barely knew each other, but had nothing better to do than to get together and pass the time over a shared love for movies.
And since then, we have watched as a club and discussed 202 movies, along with having 12 award ceremonies for each of those 202 movies, and have created 3 award-winning short films.
In 1 year since that first film discussion, we gather here tonight to give out 14 awards to the 90 amazing films that became nominated here in our ceremony.
The 14 awards that you'll see tonight can range anywhere from the typical awards that you'll see, such as Best Directing, Best Cinematography, Best Acting, and so on, while we also have some Clemson Reel Dialogue unique awards, such as Best Sequence, Best Ending, Best Character Arc, and Best Overall Performance.
We also have the category you've all been waiting for, our Best Overall Picture.
Should we tell them our 14 nominees?
I think we should.
My name is Eugene Utley.
I'm Danny Jarabek.
We are Reel Dialogue.
And this is the Golden Reels. Our first Best Picture nominee comes from May. Our first month as a club watching movies together just gave us a glimpse into the array of films that were to come. And within this month, we all were introduced to the poetic French film, which was our first Best Picture, Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
And while May was a strong introduction, June would impress us all the more with being one of our heavily agreed upon months as one of the most competitive that we've had as a club. And from this incredible month emerged our June winner, La La Land.
July continued a strong momentum for the club and brought plenty of memorable moments, including the first time we were able to see a film together in person. And this month brought us our third Best Picture, Call Me By Your Name.
August introduced many iconic films and produced some of the most chaotic months of movies and voting to this day. From this month, we received 2 classics. The 2001 Space Odyssey was a visual phenomenon and was ahead of its time. And Parasite had already become a modern-day classic that will be talked about for decades to come. And while 2001 won the nomination that month, the South Korean tragicomedy proved itself worthy of a nomination in our first Second Chance special.
September was the first month where we were first officially recognized as a club by Clemson and sparked the growth that we would begin throughout. And during this time of growth, we had watched the 2013 sci-fi romance Her, which would win our 5th monthly Best Picture.
October brought plenty of excitement watching scary movies and bringing us together for our first production as a club. And with such an eventful month, we gave our next Best Picture to the beginning of the famous trilogy, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
November brought us many of our club members' personal favorites, and in turn produced a wide spread of results, with every film receiving at least an honorable mention for the first time in Zoomy history. Despite the spread, The Prestige was able to come out on top and be named our 7th Best Picture.
December, one could argue, was our most hit-or-miss month, as many of the movies from it were either not the most memorable, or there were ones like our Best Picture nominee, Your Name, which was an Instinct Club favorite.
For our first month of the new year, we started out 2021 strong with another month of diverse films. 12 Angry Men emerged as the winner, and on top of that became our first drama and also our oldest film to win Best Picture.
February kept us on our toes between our second production of an award-winning film, T for Two, and the range of movies watched that month. Amongst the different kinds we've seen, Spirited Away came out on top.
March was our second to last month of the year and had very polarizing films that were either loved or hated. Come and See ended up becoming Best Picture, setting a record as the first under the thriller horror genre and the 5th cultural film to win. On top of that, 12 Years a Slave won a Second Chance nomination and is nominated here tonight for Best Picture as well.
And with our conclusion to our first year as a club, April gave us a highly acclaimed superhero movie, The Dark Knight, not only as our 200th film as a club, but also as our 12th Best Picture.
These are our 14 movies up for Best Overall Picture. But before we get there, we have 13 other awards to get to first. and this first block will consist of 4 awards, including Best Directing, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Best Composing.
That's right. And now to start us off with our first category, Best Directing. Danny, take it away.
The director of a film holds the creative vision, assembling a team of hundreds of people to work together toward a common goal. Recent Best Director nominees at this year's Oscars called directing, quote, jumping off a cliff, not knowing if there is water beneath you. Chloe Zhao said a director is a jack of all trades and a master of none. No matter what your outlook on directing is, it is a complex job that requires perseverance, adaptability, and a passion for storytelling. All 14 of these directors achieved something incredible when they took a risk and told their stories. Our 2 honorable mentions for Best Directing go to Christopher Nolan for The Dark Knight and Wes Anderson for The Grand Budapest Hotel. Both were truly special efforts that embodied the role of the director, but didn't quite reach our top 2. Our final 2 for Best Directing comes down to Bong Joon-ho for Parasite and Damien Chazelle for La La Land. Bong Joon-ho gave us a modern classic that exquisitely blends genre and a unique vision of social class structure, and Damien Chazelle perfectly built a pastiche of the golden era of Hollywood that was magical to watch. Both directors achieved the highest success, but only one can come out on top. And the Golden Reel for Best Directing goes to Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. Congratulations to an amazing director that is incredibly well deserving of this award. Now, we will move on to Best Screenplay. Back to you, Eugene.
One could explain the screenplay as being the foundation of every movie. It is the line between the stories in our minds and the film coming to life. A great screenplay is the first step into giving any movie its heartbeat. It is our chance to share a story or idea with the world, and if you ask my screenwriting professor, Nick Brown, he would tell you that it's our chance to torture our protagonists as much as we'd like to. These 14 nominated screenplays, while also different but great in their own ways, have paved the way for great films to be made. And now, our awards. Starting off with our 2 honorable mentions, those go to Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-won for Parasite and Aaron Sorkin for The Social Network. Both of them are extremely captivating screenplays, but unfortunately they are not our top 2. Our top 2 goes to Barry Jenkins for Moonlight and 12 Angry Men by Reginald Rose. Moonlight was an extremely captivating story told in 3 parts about the story of Chiron as he struggles with race and identity, while 12 Angry Men follows the idea of life versus death and not taking the easy way out whenever deciding such an important choice. Both of these are extremely important stories to hear, but only one gets the Golden Reel. And our winner is Reginald Rose for 12 Angry Men. An extremely telling story, and while all of them were great, this one was driven entirely off of their story, their dialogue, and their conversation. Congrats to 12 Angry Men. And now, on to Best Cinematography.
Cinematography is what drives our visual understanding in order to construct meaning. The way that scenes are captured through lighting, color, and framing sets the overall tone and mood of the film and supports the narrative being told. It is the cinematographer's responsibility to ensure the visual storytelling is cohesive and appealing. Can you scroll up? Good. The 14 cinematographers nominated excelled at capturing the spirit of their films and using the camera to craft technically brilliant and visually awe-inspiring works. Our two honorable mentions for Best Cinematography go to James Laxton for Moonlight and Claire Mathan for Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Both great achievements in cinematography that, although did not make our top two, deserve praise for their incredible work. Our final two for Best Cinematography comes down to Roger Deakins for Blade Runner 2049 and Jeffrey Unsworth for 2001: A Space Odyssey. Deakins crafts a visual spectacle of a dystopian world, while Unsworth builds a vision of space that is beyond our wildest imagination, even to this day. I think we could all agree that both produce visually stunning films that we could watch forever, but only one may come out on top. And the Golden Reel for Best Cinematography goes to Roger Deakins, Blade Runner 2049. Congratulations to a cinematographer that left us all in awe of the visual achievements that he was able to achieve. While I could talk about the shots in this film forever, we're going to move ahead to Best Composing.
There's something about a great film score that can enhance a movie and go from good to great if done right. It can capture the essence of a cinematic world to its very core. It can create melodies that intertwine with ideas, and it can create a tune that we have humming to ourselves with no chance with getting out of our head. If you're anything like these 14 nominees, you can have your music take center stage at times and showcase its sound in ways you just have to hear for yourself. And while all of them are gorgeous in their own way, it is time to crown just one. And now, back to our awards. Our two honorable mentions for composing go to Mui Masuri for Last Black Man in San Francisco and Ennio Morricone for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Both of these are incredible soundtracks that everyone should listen to at some point, but now is not the time. Now is our time for our top two for composing. Our first of the top two is Hans Zimmer for Interstellar, and our second is Justin Hurwitz for La La Land. Hans Zimmer is able to create such an amazing soundtrack with how he's able to almost recreate time and space just within your ears. While La La Land emphasizes the feelings of jazz while also telling a unique story all through the music itself. And our best composing Golden Reel goes to Hans Zimmer for Interstellar. Hans Zimmer is able to do such an amazing job with his soundtrack. He's able to blow audiences away, and even though it was made back in 2014, it's still listened to highly today. Thank you so much for an amazing soundtrack, Hans.
With our first four categories of the night being decided and recognized, we'd like to take a moment to pause and take a look and appreciate some of Reel Dialogue's own production work over the last year.
Back in October, I had the honor of directing Reel Dialogue's first short production. And while it was a humble beginning and none of us necessarily knew what we were doing, it was still a great start to our production. We were able to run away with a couple of awards, and it is with great pride I present to you Memory Trails.
Stop it!
Where's Dad?
Stop it! It wasn't my fault!
Where's Mom?
Let's go!
Where's Dad?
Leave me! It wasn't my
Where's
fault!
Mom?
Stop,
Where's
please!
Dad?
It was an
Where's
accident!
Mom?
I killed him! I killed him! Is that what you wanted to hear? It wasn't my fault! It could have happened to anyone! It wasn't even that bad of a wreck! No one should have died! Do you think you're the only one hurting from this? Newsflash! I'm hurting too! I know! And you want them back and so do I! Why can't you just forgive me? I can't stand that you can't look at me anymore, Ben! Please! Just say something! Say anything! Say something! Please! 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 Please!
I can promise you, no matter what films that you've worked with, no matter how big or small, it will never compare to what we had to go through for memory trails. Between long hikes to and from location, almost stepping on a snake, almost falling off of a waterfall, and just almost catching hypothermia between the rain and the water. It was a very unique production, to say the least. Overall, though, I think it was worth it. We had an amazing crew that was very dedicated to the whole time, and we were able to get away with some awards, in fact. Between getting a jury award at Campus Movie Fest in October and getting a silver tripod for best performance, we were able to have a very successful first film. Thank you so much to an incredible crew, and thank you so much to Sean Place for his amazing and dedicated performance as the hiker. And now, back to the awards. We have Danny with Best Editing.
Editing is an element of film that may not always get the appreciation it deserves for how technical and behind the scenes the work is. But as the most critical component of the post-production process, editing stands alone in terms of technique, merging the technical with the artistic in order to present a coherent story to the audience. Through pacing, arranging, splicing, and syncing, these 14 editors were able to craft shots and sequences into a coherent whole that maximize the story and visuals on display. Without their work, the finished product of these films would not exist the way they do. Our two honorable mentions for Best Editing go to Jonathan Amos and Paul Mackless for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, as well as Benjamin Masubre for I Lost My Body. Both editors deserve recognition for their incredible work, but came in just below our top two. Our final two for Best Editing comes down to Tom Cross for Whiplash and Mikkel E.G. Nielsen for Sound of Metal. Cross brings music and editing together to create a symphony of storytelling, and Nielsen shows us the power of editing to honor the stories of underrepresented communities in film and in reality. Both succeed tremendously in their role, shaping their respective films, but one was able to come out just ahead. In The Golden Reel, for Best Editing goes to Tom Cross, Whiplash. Congratulations to our winner for Best Editing. And make sure to give your appreciation to all editors out there for the behind-the-scenes work they do that is so important to making these films what they are. Now, let's take a look at character arc.
Character arc is our first of few categories unique to Reel Dialogue. It is one that appreciates a specific kind of writing, a writing of a character. It blends together all of the talents of a writer for creating a standout character along with their arc, along with the actor's portrayal of them immersing into such a role. It gives us a glimpse into these characters' lives. How do they change? What makes them unique? What part of their arc, or lack thereof, makes their journey so important to the viewers? These 14 characters all have given us standout qualities to learn from either of them. And now, on to character arc results. Our two honorable mentions are Taki and Mitsuha for Your Name, and Shoya Yoshida for A Silent Voice. Both are great characters and great animated films that I highly recommend to everyone. Now, on to our top two characters. We have Miles Morales for Into the Spider-Verse, and we have Ruben from Sound of Metal. The Spider-Man character, Miles Morales, is a great take on the story, as it not only works with the struggling character working with his powers, but is also creating a very fun yet unique character that all of us can relate to. Ruben, on the other hand, gives a very tragic story, but one that all of us should be listening to. And now, our golden reel for Best Character Arc. Ruben from Sound of Metal. Ruben's character arc is one that all of us should learn from. He struggles with deafness all throughout, and he sees that as something to be avoided and tries to change his fate. But instead, deafness shouldn't be seen, and disability as a whole should not be seen as a crutch and something to be avoided. And this is something all of us need to learn in society. And now, moving on to Best Sequence.
There is always a certain sequence in a film that stands out above the rest. We created this category to appreciate just that, those special shots that cannot be separated from the film and create a moment that either shows off impeccable technique or delivers the core message or theme. These 14 nominees go to great lengths to create memorable moments that are all uniquely iconic for the way we remember them long after watching the film itself. Our two honorable mentions for Best Sequence go to the interrogation sequence in The Dark Knight and the barn burning sequence in Come and See. Both are brilliant scenes that are extremely important to their films, but were just a notch below our finalists. Our final two for Best Sequence comes down to the Magic Hour meeting in Your Name and the Leap of Faith sequence in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The Magic Hour meeting brought us all to tears with its incredible and lively animated visuals, and the Leap of Faith sequence taught us all to be a little more brave. Each of these achieves something special that transforms the experience of their films, but only one may come out on top. And the golden reel for Best Sequence goes to Leap of Faith. Congratulations to our Best Sequence for changing our perspective and bringing together every filmmaking technique into one incredible moment. Speaking of special moments, there is nothing better than an ending. Let's see the best of the best. To Eugene with Best Ending.
The way you end a movie is critical. A decent movie can go from great if it ends the right way, and a good movie can flop if it doesn't know how to stick the landing. It is the last impression the movie makes before an audience leaves the theater. These 14 movies make a great last impression on us and make us thinking about them all after the credits roll. And now, best ending. Our two honorable mentions go out to Whiplash by Damien Chazelle and The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan. Both of these have absolutely stunning endings that will have you breathless for long after the movie ends. But our two endings that absolutely stood out amongst the crowd were Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which created a poetic ending about the idea of what it is to love versus the idea of love. And our second ending also deals with love, as La La Land tells the story of two tragic lovers wishing of what could be. And now, our golden reel for best ending goes to La La Land. La La Land's ending is absolutely beautiful. It leaves you wishing that it would never end, and it had us all in tears in the discussion. Thank you so much to an incredible ending. Now that we have completed 8 of our 14 categories for the Golden Reels tonight, we would like to take a break and appreciate one of our own productions yet again.
Our second Campus Movie Fest production, and first of the spring semester, brought along a number of unforgettable moments. With a growing sense of confidence in our screenwriting and filmmaking, this short film took another giant leap forward in terms of ambition. This film had a very complex plot and complicated production design, and with that we were able to achieve so much with so little. I was honored to direct my first film with Reel Dialogue production crew, and it is with that I present to you T for Two.
How was your day, Josephine?
Fine.
You're supposed to ask me how my day was.
How was your day, Kendra?
Oh, splendid. I went to the library.
Brilliant. And what did you get?
Oh, Goodnight Moon, Charlotte's Web, Green Eggs and Ham, all the classics. What have you been reading, Josephine?
I can't read.
Oh, don't bother. I only learned last year. I saw a butterfly today. I stepped on it. It went squish. And Mummy said it's off to heaven, never to come back.
Once they're gone, they're gone for good.
What are you on about?
There's a ringing. There's a ringing in my ears.
There's no telephone here.
No, there wasn't one there either. We were alone. Just us. Bullet fire. Surely someone else must have been there, but we never saw them.
Josephine, close your mouth. It's rude.
Where am I?
You're at a tea party, silly.
No. Where am I? Where am I? Who are you?
I'm Kendra. We've known each other since primary. Anyway, I've got a new baby doll. It's a girl.
Congratulations, it's a girl. Do you want to hold her?
How did I get here?
How did any of us get here? I don't remember you.
Josephine, we went horseback riding yesterday, and we had the most marvelous play wedding. You look so beautiful. I remember you walking down the aisle. It felt like a dream. can't wait to raise a family of my own. Teach my child how to ride a bike. Josephine, my goodness, are you okay? All the Barbies I buy for her, and she only wants to play with her brother's toys.
This film was originally conceptualized as a lighthearted comedy. We really nailed that, didn't we? When the writing sessions for this film came and the idea started rolling, that lightheartedness turned into an existentialist psychological thriller in a way that only CRD could do. Truthfully, when I first read the pitch for this film, there wasn't anything in my mind that was going to stop it from happening. The idea of putting our lead actors in dresses, mixed with war flashbacks and a crazy plot twist on reality, was something so unique that I couldn't wait to make it happen. There were so many things as the director that I had no idea how they would work out, such as hand sewing all of our own costumes, asking an Airbnb to host a short film, and filling the set with fine desserts were all challenges that we overcame as a crew. Major props and shout-outs to our cast, including our cross-dressers and our best on-screen wife, and to everyone involved that made this an amazing production that won a jury award.
Now Danny will go on to announce our 9th category of the night, Best Supporting Actor.
A supporting role doesn't always receive the limelight or get printed on the poster the way lead roles do, but a supporting role can sometimes do so much more with so much less. These 14 nominees captured that spirit by embracing their role to the max and delivering performances that undoubtedly changed the outcome of the film's message. Our 2 honorable mentions for Best Performance in a Male Supporting Role go to Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse and Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards. Both are well-deserving of recognition for their work, but 2 other performances achieved just a bit more. Our final 2 for Best Performance in a Male Supporting Role comes down to J.K. Simmons in Whiplash and Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. Simmons shook us all to our core with the enraged and domineering character he brought to life as a demanding music professor. Ledger transformed the enigmatic character of the Joker into something that audiences will never forget with his terrifying method performance. Both are more than essential components of their films. They are inseparable from the film itself. Nonetheless, there can only be one winner. And the Golden Reel for Best Performance in a Male Supporting Role goes to Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. Congratulations to our more than deserving male supporting performances for transcending their roles and bringing an energy to acting that captivated us all. Back to Eugene for female supporting role.
Much like Danny said about supporting actors, they typically have to work a lot harder to stand out in a film. They are not put in the limelight. However, that does not mean that they don't have their chance to shine. These 14 amazing actresses gave standout performances within their supporting roles, and without a doubt are worthy of recognition for how they have embodied and immersed themselves into these characters. And now, our results. Our first two honorable mentions for Best Performance in a Female Supporting Role go out to Florence Pugh for Little Women and Allison Janney for I, Tonya. Both of them are captivating performances by two incredible women, but they are not our top two. Our top two goes out to Yoon Eun-jun for Minari and Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave. And now, your golden reel for Best Performance in a Female Supporting Role goes to Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave. Lupita's performance in this film is absolutely heartbreaking, all the while deserving. This Steve McQueen movie is so touching that everyone needs to see it immediately. Thank you so much to Lupita Nyong'o for such an amazing performance. And now, moving on to Best Performance in a Male Leading Role. Danny, take it away.
Moving into the category for Best Performance by a Male Lead Role, the competition is extremely tough. Over the course of the last year, we have witnessed some performances that left us inspired, left us in tears, and more than anything, left us believing in the magic of the movies. A screenplay is just a story until someone comes along and brings it to life, and that is exactly what these 14 nominees achieved to the fullest extent. They embodied their roles and will live on in our hearts and minds for a long time to come. Our two honorable mentions for Best Performance in a Male Leading Role go to Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood, and Chiwetel Ejiofor in 12 Years a Slave. Although they did not win, they definitely deserve praise for their amazing work. Our final two for Best Performance in a Male Leading Role comes down to Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler and Riz Ahmed in Sound of Metal. Gyllenhaal encapsulated a psychotic journalist with a grand entrepreneurial spirit, and Ahmed challenged us to place ourselves within the deaf community in order to feel a world of silence. Both performances were moving in completely different ways, but only one was voted best. And the golden reel for Best Performance in a Male Leading Role goes to Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler. Congratulations on our Best Performance in a Male Lead Role. He truly gave us an unforgettable experience. Now back to Eugene for Female Lead Role.
The diversity of acting talent within this category is amazing. It honestly feels impossible to choose who were the best because of all of them having such great performances in unique ways. It hurts to choose one. Unfortunately, though, only one of these 14 amazing actresses will walk away with the golden reel for Best Performance in a Female Leading Role. Now, our results. Our two honorable mentions go out to two iconic performances, first being Frances McDormand in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and the second being Bette Davis in All About Eve. Both are incredible performances that I wish I could give awards, but unfortunately our top two is reserved for only two. One of those two being Amy Adams in Arrival, and the second being Toni Collette in Hereditary. Both of these are amazing roles for all different reasons. While Amy Adams absolutely strives with her subtlety within the role and understanding her character, Toni Collette absolutely runs away with her depiction of tragedy and grief. And now, our best performance in a female leading role goes to Amy Adams in Arrival. Amy Adams' character in Arrival is one that she blends into seamlessly. As I said earlier, she drives off of subtlety within this. You almost forget that she's a character. While many films usually try to find these long monologues or big outbursting scenes to give their best acting performances to, this one absolutely works within its own subtlety and is able to carry her to a golden reel. Congratulations, Amy Adams. Here we are, 12 categories later, only leaving Best Overall Performance and Best Picture to go. We'd like to pause one more time to appreciate our final production of the year, How Love Goes.
Our third Campus Movie Fest production and last of the year was truly special, having the opportunity to direct alongside my fellow co-host and tell a truly personal story. Everyone worked extremely hard to make this happen, and I'm grateful for all of the memories on set, from impromptu dance parties to eating four-leaf clovers. You are all truly one of a kind. Let's see the film.
How Love Goes was an idea within the process for quite some time, and while it wouldn't be made until April and the end of our production year, it was actually a blessing in disguise as we had a lot more equipment, bigger production, and just overall enough resources to make it as great as possible.
This film meant a lot to bring to life in telling a personal story and in the heightened production value we were able to achieve from everything we had learned up to that point. Through new equipment and filmmaking techniques, we were able to produce something we were really proud of. Everyone on set contributed and maximized their role, and as a result, it made an amazing experience for Eugene and I to direct.
Now moving on to our penultimate award of the night, Best Overall Performance. While Danny and I are eager to announce it, we actually thought that we would pass this on to our future co-hosts and officers, Rachel, Gage, and Ross.
Although each cinematic art takes enormous determination, skill, and dedication to craft, acting is the only one that requires the person to use their body and being as an instrument through which they become the character and experience their journey.
Over the past year, we've seen a variety of excellent performances that have brought us to tears and made us fear for our lives. But it's the truly legendary ones that stick with us, and only one of those will go down in CRD history as a true icon of cinema. These 12 nominees understand the demands of performance and are willing to do whatever it takes to not just inhabit the screen, but to own it.
We have 2 honorable mentions for Best Overall Performance. Our first honorable mention goes to Amy Adams in Arrival. And our second honorable mention goes to J.K. Simmons in Whiplash. Both great achievements in overall performance that, although did not make our top 2, deserve praise for their great work.
Our final 2 for Best Overall Performance come down to Heath Ledger for The Dark Knight and Jake Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler. Heath Ledger redefined the supervillain archetype with an unhinged level of pure madness in The Dark Knight. And Jake Gyllenhaal transformed into a psychopath who gives new meaning to the word obsessed in Nightcrawler.
Both of them are stellar within their category, but unfortunately only one may come out on top. And the Golden Reel for Best Overall Performance goes to Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
Congratulations so much to an extremely deserving performance by a dedicated and talented actor. Now we only have one category left, Best Picture.
But before that, we would like to take a moment to recap everything that this club has meant to us.
I'm Danny Jarabek.
My name's Eugene, Rocco, Utley.
My name is Jenny McGinley.
Sean Place.
Ross Bullock.
Vivian Schmatzer.
Caroline Young.
Gage Warren.
Rachel Wan.
Austin Lemire.
And I'm a member.
Founder.
Of Clemson Reel Dialogue.
It literally started through a text.
Eugene reached out to me during quarantine about a year ago when the pandemic hit.
We just started talking about all the binges that we were doing. Like I was watching a bunch of movies, trying to find new movies to watch. I just pitched the idea to him like, hey, it would be cool if we got like a group that like just did this together.
We realized we had a common interest and a shared passion, and we wanted to share that with a community of people that we thought would be really fun to just get together and watch movies together.
And it just grew one by one from there.
Eugene messaged me and said that he had some guys who were going to watch movies and talk about them together, and we were in the middle of a pandemic and there really wasn't anything going on, and I was bored out of my mind, so I figured why not.
I found out about Clemson Reel Dialogue from Rocco. We were in class together and he mentioned it the last day of class. Just thought it'd be something fun and decided to join.
So Danny was already a good friend of mine from an honored fraternity I had been in during undergrad called Phi Sigma Pi. Last April, he messaged that group a couple times mentioning how he was putting together a Zoom film club with some friends. I ignored the first one because I'm an idiot, but he sent out a second one and I got a little more adventurous with it, so I decided to DM him, and he was extraordinarily enthusiastic. He was like it was like, yeah, for sure. And as a result, I ended up right there in time for the first discussion.
I did not expect it to go past like 3 months at most.
Like, I did not expect it to go so long. I thought there's a chance it could, but the fact that it actually did and grew way more than I expected is insane.
In one of my classes, some guy named Danny made an announcement, and he was like, "Oh yeah, join my film club and whatnot."
I knew Eugene because he did a capstone screening of Arrival, spring 2020, and I went to it because I love Arrival, and I met him there.
One of my good friends, Danny Jarabek, was one of the co-founding members.
There was some sort of like World Cinema Zoom call I was on, and I think Eugene was there to like promote it or something. And so I heard about it from there, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool, but I didn't end up joining till January.
I was looking for clubs specifically that had to do with filmmaking or movie watching, and I found CRD and Clemson Film on Tiger Quest. And then he was in my great directors class, and so I recognized him again, and he mentioned Reel Dialogue right at the beginning of the semester, but I was too scared to do anything, so I didn't reach out.
A week before I joined, I watched A Silent Voice, and that was actually the movie that made me like want to join the club, because it kind of made me want to like go try to make friends.
And I saw that the Instagram for CRD was way more active, so I said, these people know what they're doing. And I went to the World Cinema like roundtable discussion or something that he was at, and he mentioned the club, and he also mentioned that they were doing Campus Movie Fest.
And when I heard they were doing some short films, personally I really enjoy editing, so I was like, hey, I want to get on board with that, and I joined the production team.
On a whim, I showed up to one of the discussions, and I really wanted to stay and stick around. So I like made a point, I like made an effort, and I reached out, and I was like, hey, like if you need help with your production, I'd love to join the club, kind of stuff. And he was like, brought me right on.
And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do it.
Oof, we've watched so many amazing movies that I never would have even had the idea to watch before.
Princess Mononoke.
La La Land.
The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
All About Eve.
Parasite.
The Raid.
And Into the Spider-Verse.
But some of the favorites that I've discovered through the club would probably be
Paddington 2.
Nocturnal Animals.
The Place Beyond the Pines.
The Lobster.
Francis Ha.
12 Angry Men.
Come and See.
Black Swan.
Your Name.
And Blind Spotting.
Oh, my favorite Reel Dialogue moment, I cannot decide.
Oh, we have some really great moments.
The Process.
That was so hot. I get high.
All of Eugene's typos.
One of my favorite moments was when Katie just pulled the rug out of Eugene's Final Jeopardy answer and he downed an entire glass of wine.
I looked into his camera and I just see his head tilted all the way back, downing half a glass of wine after that horrible defeat. As soon as I saw that, I just started laughing my ass off.
That was all time. I will never forget that image.
Whenever we've done daily doubles in trivia, and anytime someone has wagered everything. Danny doing it recently I don't think was as funny as whenever Eugene did it. Both of them lost all of their points because they immediately got it wrong. And then Eugene was just incredible because with Eugene, watching him lose everything, it was special. It was truly special.
When we all dressed up for Halloween and some of us were not sober.
I played a drinking game during one of the Zoomies, and it went poorly. It was a very unpredictable month, and people got some show out of it. I think I ended up kicking my computer at some point.
That's so embarrassing, but it was very fun.
Drink responsibly.
We found out you guys were all in this club called PSP, and Katie and I tried to figure out what PSP stood for, a potential smash partner or like pyramid scheme people. Like, Danny's the leader of a pyramid scheme. Are you guys about to rob us blind of our money? Like,
One is a Final Jeopardy moment. Whoever could name the most movies with characters' names in the titles. It was me versus Danny, and we started going, and I was like, ooh, Batman. I could write that, he's a character. So I started naming all the Batman movies, and then I had this sudden realization to name every superhero movie ever made, and I crushed it. Everyone was just freaking out. They're like, Danny, just give up.
A moment that sticks out to me was just meeting everyone at the Interstellar live viewing. That was really cool. It was nice to see everyone.
we all got toast nicknames in the chat. That was really fun. Tooth Kingdom, when we introduced Judson into the chat, And Katie was talking about stealing people's teeth. Daddy fuck was pretty hilarious. It's just such a bad typo.
There's so many good things that happened in discussion. I can't think of any of them.
I would say come and see. It was just also interesting hearing like what everyone else thought about the movie. I feel like I probably talked more in that discussion than I've ever talked in any discussion. Like I finished it like right before discussion. I just had so many thoughts about like the technical aspects and like the messages. So I would say come and see.
I would probably have to say The Prestige, purely because that is a movie where I love to show it to people and to watch them react to it. We did have Caroline come in pretty much the moment that she had finished it, and I got to watch her kind of retroactively freak out.
I just remember The Prestige being a very fun discussion, and I remember that was like one of the first films that I joined, and I was like so excited and like freaked out by it because I just finished it right before discussion, and the ending just like blew my socks off. I was just so like, what is happening? And we were all just like losing our minds, and it was really fun. Also, I guess just The Room, like the discussion of The Room, because I think that was like one of the first times I met some of you in person, and we just watched The Room.
That is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, one of the worst movies any of us have ever seen. Just cringe at this horribly made movie.
And that was our first experience, and there were so many sex scenes.
Caroline just specifically mentioning cringing at Tommy Wiseau's ass gyrating during that whole scene, just, oh my God.
It was miserable, but also so delightful.
The La La Land discussion. I was getting emotional after, even though I've seen it before, but everyone else was too. Everyone had this guttural reaction to how much they loved it, and it just, like, was so fun just talking about that movie for hours after.
My favorite discussion so far has been The Babadook. We talked about the horror genre in general, and also how it was a female-led production. We definitely need to see more women directors in the genre.
Probably for the favorite, I got to lead discussion, and I used it as an opportunity to talk about my 3 favorite things: All About Eve, Taylor Swift's Boyfriends, and Emma Stone. So really just I peaked.
The double feature discussion of Her and Lost in Translation. The way we paired those two films with the relationships between the directors and the way that they played off each other. And we really made the most of comparing two films and their different contexts.
What am I most grateful for? Hands down, the people.
Honestly, I don't even see it as a club. Like, I know it's a club, but really I just see it as like my friends. When something's bothering me, I can talk to them about it. Whether that's sexism, racism, white privilege, something personal going on in my life. Being non-defensive is such a rare quality in one person, let alone a group of people. So that, you know, honestly, like, sometimes Clemson Reel Dialogue really feels like a safe space for me, you know, like, where I can talk through things and know that people will try their best to understand, that they will listen with empathy.
I was a transfer student in Clemson, and I literally did not know a single person when I joined. And when I joined Clemson Reel Dialogue, I had no idea that it wouldn't just be friends, like it would actually be like a family, like a second family.
Well, I took 2 years off of school, so all my friends that I did have here all graduated like a year ago. So I was really worried about not being able to find any friends, any new friends, especially since everything being online and all.
When I came into grad school, I still had friends from undergrad that I made, but when the pandemic hit, that time was cut short and I couldn't go downtown with them. And most of them, I kind of had to cut contact with them there. Honestly, at the end of the day, with Clemson Reel Dialogue, it just feels like I got a second chance to make friends.
This club has, like, quite literally changed my life, and that's not an exaggeration. I've made some of the best friends that I'll ever have in my life. I feel like not so alone anymore at school.
There are just so many people that I want to like say thank you for everything, because like this club could have nowhere been near impossible with like any other group, and this club is really made off of the people in it. So thank you all. That's a wrap.
And cut.
Thank you so much to Ross and Rachel for creating such an amazing video that just embodies
how much this club has meant to us. This club would not be possible without all of you who have attended discussions, helped out with productions. If you were at any of the 202 discussions or any of the 3 productions this year, thank you so much for making this possible.
And after such a wonderful year sharing memories and movies with all of you, we only have one thing left to do as hosts before we pass on the torch.
And now, it's time for Best Picture.
Our first honorable mention for Best Picture goes to The Dark Knight. This is the perfect example of it's never too late to watch a club favorite, as this was actually our 200th out of 202 films, and was still able to find our place within the top 4 at the end of the year.
And our second honorable mention goes out to La La Land by Damien Chazelle. An absolutely beautiful movie that we watched back in June, and it immediately captured everyone's hearts. It was widely agreed upon throughout the club as a favorite, and trust me, it's hard for us to agree on something. And while it's an amazing film, it is not our best picture.
Our final 2 films for Best Overall Picture come down to Your Name and Parasite.
Your Name was an amazing animated feature that we found through the club that perfectly captured that feeling of waking up from a dream but not being able to remember it.
Parasite was another foreign film that not only tackled social commentary on class structure and capitalism, but also brought awareness of South Korean culture to the biggest platform across the world.
And while both of these are beautiful and amazing movies, we can unfortunately give one Best Picture. And after 1 year and 202 movies, the Golden Reel for our first Best Picture goes to Parasite. It broke our heart trying to choose between these 2 movies, let alone the amazing 14 movies that were nominated for Best Picture. But we are honored that it can go to a movie like Parasite.
Congratulations to an amazing year, to all of our nominees, but most of all, congratulations to our first overall Best Picture, Parasite.
Thank you all so much for tuning into the Golden Reels tonight. It's been an insane past 12 months as a club together. We've grown so much. We've become an official club through Clemson. We've done so many productions that have just exceeded our expectations. And overall, it could not be possible without any of you. All of this is just a product of all of us needing a community and not having that during quarantine and the pandemic. And just being able to come together and find that sense of community through a love shared of movies and grow as almost a family together. It couldn't be possible without you all.
I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. As Eugene said, none of this would be possible without your constant support and energy and dedication to this club that honestly 12 months ago we could have never expected to be where it is today. I don't think any of us could have imagined doing 3 short films, watching 200 movies, or doing any of the things that we've accomplished in the last year. And so that's just a testament to how amazing each and every one of you are. And I'm extremely grateful just to have met you and get to discuss what we love together.
You want to say it?
Nah, you say it.
That's a wrap.
Dressed up like a pillow, so she's always